Welcome to Produce Talks.
This whole business is based on relationship and friendships.
Food is darn simple.
What can we do? What are other countries doing?
How important it is for industry to be talking about this.
We're going back to the farm. We're going back to the whole food.
Hi, I'm Wally Burns, the Education and Training Manager at CPMA. CPMA would like to acknowledge Nature Fresh Farms as our Produce Talks series sponsor. Find out more about Nature Fresh Farms and how they are growing for a kinder future at www.naturefresh.ca. You can keep up with them on Instagram or Twitter at nature_fresh and on Pinterest at naturefresh, along with other social media. CPMA would also like to welcome Fresh from Florida as a sponsor of this podcast. Here is a quick message from Chef Justin of Fresh from Florida.
Hi, I'm Chef Justin Timoneri, Executive Chef with Fresh from Florida, a proud sponsor of this podcast. Fresh from Florida loves being a part of CPMA and sharing the message of what Florida farmers bring to the table. To learn more and to find hundreds of Florida Fresh recipes that we develop for you in our test kitchen, visit followfreshfromflorida.com and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Fresh from Florida. Enjoy the show and keep cooking.
In this episode, we feature a recording from a learning lounge from our recent convention and trade show in Montreal. Listen now to moderator Masellis, who is our current chair of CPMA, as he talks with panelists Steve Boulianne, Zack Jones, Jeff Fowler, Emily Vosburgh, and Mimmo Franzone.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're enjoying our second day here at the CPMA here in Montreal. Glad to have everyone together with us. We're starting a little later, so we're just going to dive right in. I want to thank the panelists before we start for taking the time out, because we are running businesses while we're doing this, but we want to share information with you. We're all going through this, coming through this pandemic and moving into the next level, and there's a lot of problems in our supply chain issues, and we're going to talk about those today. So why don't we start from the end and introduce ourselves. Go ahead, Steve.
I'll do. My name is Steve Boulianne. I'm working at Metro for National Director of Procurement from the last 18 years. I'm on the board of the CPMA from the last 6 years.
Wonderful.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Zack Jones. I work for Save On Foods on the west coast out of Langley. I look after our retail locations and produce procurement in Western Canada, and I'm happy to be here this afternoon.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Fowler, National Sourcing Director for Sobeys. Lead a highly talented team of sourcing managers and procurement for Sobeys nationally.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily Vosburgh, the Fruits, Vegetables, and Dairy Merchandising Manager at Gordon Food Service for Canada.
Hello, everyone. Mimmo Franzone from Longo Brothers Fruit Markets out of Vaughan, Ontario. That's it. Glad to be here, and thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Mimmo. And I'm Masellis, Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Catania Worldwide, located in Toronto with several locations throughout North America. So we'll jump right in, and we'll start with the first question here. While we are all anxious to move beyond the pandemic, it is clear that it continues to influence the realities we face in the produce supply chain. Lots has been said about those challenges, and let's start our discussion today with your take on the big vulnerabilities that we still have within your own operation and what's done to adjust them. Who wants to dive in?
Yeah, I can kick it off for sure. Coming out of the pandemic, and we're still facing several of those challenges today. And one of them for us, especially retail and at our warehouse facilities, is labor and disruption of labor as well. So At our warehouse teams, we saw big spikes where we lost 30 to 40% of our staff, right? So that has a big downstream effect on, our retail locations and also our inbound freight loads as well, making sure that we keep our appointments on time for the trucks coming in with the shortages as well. So something that we're working on at Save On Foods out west is kind of, advancement of technology through systems of automation, micro-fulfillment. Dematia is a system that we're engaging with to help mitigate some of those risks through automation. So that's something we're looking forward to in the next couple of years.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I think if to add to that, and Zach's bang on, also with these challenges, and I know we're going to touch on it later where many aren't going away, it's identified the need to look at everything smarter and work in closer collaboration, especially with our supplier partners. We're in this together, and it's how we can plan that moving forward.
Okay. Anyone else?
But I think what we saw the most with those issues is the just-in-time buying. When we're facing that kind of a situation, we're saying that we had to be prepared before. And so on some points, you're saying that the just-in-time buying, it's really complicated and really really tough to adjust on with that type of big issue. So for the next one, we hope that will never happen. But you have to have the tool before to face it. It's
okay.
Yeah, we're definitely ready for the next one. Hopefully, it doesn't come anytime soon. But to Steve's point. Yeah, we had to be very nimble, agile. We had to, how quick can we get the product in and out to the stores? So coming out of that, you learn quick for sure, and it's plateaued, which is great. But the beginning of it was stressful on the teams. It's definitely our distribution center was crippled, right? Couldn't get product out, and didn't have the staff, right? So we need to continue to evolve our business and make sure that we're ready for anything that happens.
Wonderful. Emily, anything to add?
Yeah, just to add to that. So for us at the start of the pandemic, our biggest challenges was the sheer volume of product that we had in our facilities and en route to our facilities. So we had to look at alternate channels, whether that was selling to retailers, further processors to find homes for that product, and then take a hard look at our portfolio moving forward and see where we could consolidate and condense SKUs for freshness and flow of product. So, and then ongoing, as they've touched on, the labor and transportation challenges. Wonderful.
Thank you. By the way, I did forget to mention that you do have headsets around you. Those aren't for translation because of the ambient noise. It's a mic system, so you can hear us a little bit more clearly. I know I'd be using it if I was in your shoes, but you can use it for that, okay? Moving on. Looking to the short and long term, do you think any of these vulnerabilities that we just spoke about will linger? And what changes do you think could become a permanent part of how we do business versus what we did before? Emily, why don't you give that a first crack?
Yeah, so I think labor for sure is going to be an ongoing challenge, whether that's for our food service customers. A little bit more challenging right now to find skilled culinary staff. So there's opportunity there for the product mix, whether that's value add or pre-cut products to offer to our customers. And then on the warehousing side and transportation side for us, it's looking at our product mix and the case weights and pack sizes to maybe make those selection jobs a little bit more appealing to a broader segment.
Okay. Yeah. Jeff? Oh, Mimmo, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, definitely labor. It's going to be ongoing. Hopefully, we don't see the retraction we had, at the peak of our problems, but we see it in the labor markets. Labor force is tough. We see it both, like Emily said, both at retail, warehouse operations, trucking, and we have to, now work on our programs smarter. And how can we take, those pain points, those inefficiencies out of the business to mitigate the risks we have today that we've seen.
So do you see labor across the board, regardless of the department, any part of the supply chain?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so labor's
definitely.
So, yeah, we'd have to, at store level, we had to, ensure that we had enough help. So we did like a ton of cross training. So you have, because at any given time, you could could sort of not have a department come into work, right? So we really shifted and we're big on cross training now, where deli clerks understand a little bit enough about produce to help fill the shelves if anything can happen, right? And to Emily's point, we streamline our SKU offering just for efficiencies, because there was so much strain on the DC that, okay, if we had 500 SKUs, now we have 300, and there's less for them to pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we also need to understand the needs of our guests and making sure we're removing the right products and not have the offering, right?
Yeah, I would add to that just on the assortment. We did the same thing, right? Rationalizing our mix to deliver, right? It's all about efficiencies. Labor's tight, fuel costs are rising. How do we become more efficient through all of this, right? And we carried a lot of SKUs in our facility that maybe got turns every year, right?
Yeah.
So how do you optimize that assortment all the way through your supply chain, right? So it shouldn't be on a truck if you're not going to move it, right? And then we slot it in our warehouse, and then it never gets ordered. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there, and a lot of good learning coming out of the pandemic on, how do we optimize our assortment all the way through the value chain.
Yeah, we had just to add to that, we had a joke around the office. In our center store, whatever was still on the shelf, like the third week of March, you knew that we didn't need to keep the SKU because it was still on the shelf, right? Because we were selling everything. So that was.
You walked down that canned soup aisle, you saw that one last can of soup. Maybe we don't need that one anymore.
Yeah.
Exactly. Was the same found in the produce department specifically?
Yeah, So, we have products that we don't really turn. They're like nice to haves, right? Like in our case, a lot of that exotic tropical fruit that we don't really turn. Every store sells a case or whatever. We didn't go with any of that assortment for like 8 months, and nobody said a word.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's, we I think we sold a year's worth of hard squash in the month of May, which is it's spring, summertime, and there's still. So yeah, we learned a lot. We learned that convenience. People were home, so we learned that convenience really wasn't important at that time.
Right. So
we sold a lot of bulk product, and it's important to educate the guests on how to cook, because they weren't time starved anymore, right? So.
Yeah. And it's definitely the team setup here. It's. Again, with those inefficiencies, it surfaced, right? Yeah. Some of them, we were living with them. We were working through them, right? Yeah. Might have known, and this brought it front and center, and it's to eliminate those ineffective touch points, right from, our grower partners to the trucking side, consolidations, right to the warehouse, and then to the store.
Okay. Anything to add, Steve? We're good.
I can repeat myself, but it's all about all about transport, label, and labor in stores. So
okay,
we have the same issue.
Mm-hmm. Now, Steve, we'll start with you on this one. Do you see a role for technology in adapting to the challenges you've been facing? And if so, what are some of the things you're implementing or anticipate in the future? And also, are you seeing an influence from technology along the total supply chain?
If you think that you cannot look and push on the technology side, you will not get through that. Just for communication, you need to find a way to be really quick and efficient on communication. Even and more than emails and everything, even that you need to find a better way to work. Because just the communication part. You will save a lot of hours there, and since we said before the labor is complicated, it's important. You need to optimize the technology. I'm thinking about automatization. I think warehouses will have no choice to go that way. We already test that route, and like I said, it's going to be the future for sure. And I'm seeing technology too with the packaging. The guy who's producing the packaging will be is a big part of the supply chain, and those guys that will give us the right packaging to bring the fruit, give them a week or 2 weeks more of shelf life, and in the same way protect the environment and get the right packaging. But I think this one too will be like a big plus for the company that is going to get it.
Okay. Zack?
Yeah, kind of just to build off my first point earlier, I think automation is certainly somewhere we're focused on as well in terms of getting efficiencies. So, how we pick our orders and the micro fulfillment we're building into our warehouse structure today is certainly going to help us through that technology phase as well. We're also doing a lot of stuff at a retail level, so throwing through from basically our perpetual inventory system all the way back to like the farm and how we buy and procure. So that's helping us remove some of those inefficiencies in terms of buying the products our customers and our guests want the most and removing the things that they don't. So it builds off that assortment mix as well. So we're really leaning heavy into that so we can remove all that friction throughout the whole supply chain to get more efficient. Because the reality is gas is going up, inflation's going up, and how do we keep costs down to pass those along to our customers? So. Yeah, we see a big part of technology in our future.
So that's the retail perspective. Now, on the food service side, how is technology going to be changing?
Yeah, so we're certainly looking at technologies to help in transportation, whether that's load building, routing efficiencies, also automation for our distribution centers to make the selection process less physically taxing. And then also to help our customers with some solutions using technology to help with their challenges. So for example, in our home office test kitchen, we have a robot sous chef right now that customers can see when they come in, and it's actually set up to do a salad station. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. Wow. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think technology, it allowed us through the pandemic. It allowed us to connect with our vendor partners from around the world very easily. So it was always like, we have Teams, you have Zoom. It's like at any point in time you could connect with your partners, right? So I think that really helps out the industry as a whole. Like we were doing virtual farm tours where our partners would go in the sweet potato field and harvest, and we have the team watch it. We didn't have to fly to California to do that, right? So it was cool that we were able to stay connected and grow bigger and better partnerships.
Now to branch from what you just said, do you see that continuing post-pandemic? Now we're all getting together here. We love to see it socially. Do you see you continuing with those Zoom or virtual farm tours?
Yeah. Hopefully it's just an add-on to, allow a larger group to see that. But no, we'll definitely continue to be in the fields and work with our partners and understand where our products come from. But I mean, we have 37 stores. We can have all the produce managers and their teams joining in on that, right? So it's really changed how we connect with our partners.
Jeff, any more thoughts?
One glaring one, I think the surface technology is the logistics side, and more the tracking through the trucking industry. When we're still dealing some of that today with the labor challenges in that industry, and there's the obvious is move more towards the GPS, the real time, but hitting those points of every touch point through that supply chain and having visibility through system. I mean, there's a lot of, identified a lot of manual processes, and now, how can we automate those in the future and have it flow properly, and we know where everything is from field right to store in the end. Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked about the vulnerabilities and adjustments. What have you seen from your suppliers in those areas, and how has it influenced your business with them? And for those who serve franchises or restaurants specifically, how has it impacted your downstream customer service?
You want me to start?
You can start.
Okay. So our suppliers have certainly faced a number of challenges, whether it's packaging delays, logistics challenges, transportation, rising costs, a line going down and waiting for the part to come in. And through that, we've really had to take a multi-sourcing strategy and have good, solid substitute options for items that are out of stock. And the downstream effect of that for our customers is that they, unfortunately, have had to spend more time in the back of house operations, whether that's planning their orders and inventory and adjusting recipes and menu items to work with the substitute products that we're offering, which is taking them away from the valuable front of house customer interactions that they have. All that being said, though, our supplier partners have been fantastic. We're really thankful for all that they've done to help us navigate these solutions and ensure that we do have product for customers. And produce, relative to some of our other categories, we have had a stronger fill rate with it, and just thankful for the supplier partners for all their help in that space.
Okay. Anyone else?
Okay. I think supplier partnerships bigger now than ever, and it's shown through. And we're all in this together, right? It's with our grower partners, supplier partners, our retail, food service, and I think the model that needs to evolve is that transparency. And yes, we're all running businesses. There's a transactional piece, obviously, but it is really that collaboration, that transparency, and that relationship, and how we grow it together.
Yeah, I would just
together is the only way to get through it. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah. I was just going to add to that. I couldn't agree more. Like, I think the pandemic, it's kind of pulled us apart, but I think in a way it's brought us even closer together, right? Mm-hmm. Collaboration, working together, rolling up your sleeves, because you know what? We're all facing these challenges, and how to, at the end of the day, best serve our customers and get food on the shelves for Canadians, whether it's food service, retail locations, right? And we're all in it together. So I feel after the last 2 years, while we might not have been working closely together, we're even closer than we ever were going into the pandemic, and I'm excited about the future.
Steve?
Yeah, it's the same. We saw which vendors, growers, or packers was partners, so we had to jump in that situation with them and find solution. And I think we evolved together in that. Honestly, I don't want to say that what was a good situation, but that situation bring a lot of things more efficient and more smarter. So, yes.
So I'm hearing that it's solidified partnerships. Mm-hmm. If there were any vendors that were not working that way, they're probably not working with you today. But yeah, Zack, good point that we're actually working together and closer now.
Mm.
Yeah. So if we dive a bit deeper into that, in the supply chain and your expectations from your vendors and suppliers, have the changes we've seen and the way your organization has addressed them changed what you expect now from your vendors? So let's just say we've raised the bar. How do we go from there, Steve?
We've raised the bar, but at the end, for me, the result's still the same. We want to get the same availability, quality to the customer. It's sure the cost and everything is another subject, but we want to get the same result. So at the end, yes, we develop some tools, we develop some way to work with them, but the final discussion or the final result for me is still the same.
Okay. Anyone else?
I think there's definitely, there's reviews and strategies, and team, we've touched on that earlier, whether it's, pack size changes, assortment changes, and that's probably here to stay. Even now, we talk about maybe post-pandemic, but we know we're in a heavy inflationary, market now, right? And it's tough on the customer. But again, I think I go back to the programs themselves, and with our supplier partners and grower partners is, how do we grow that together? Diversity, different points of origin on the global market. How do we close the mile gap on our growing, whether it's more Canadian production, close out those things, just to mitigate those risks, and with our key partners, grow that together and get there together.
Okay. Mimmo?
Yeah, I think we've been through a lot, so I think it's the new day to day, right? Like anything that we worked together with our teams or with our partners, it's just the new way of doing business. It's no different than our lives changed. It's the way it's going to be, right? Yeah. So, to Steve's point, you know who is truly a partner when we got out of this. On our end, our distribution center was like collapsing. Like we couldn't get trucks in and out fast enough. And we reached out to our supplier partners, and it was like, you know what? Who can go to our stores for us? You know, here's you know, we were sending loads to our supplier partners, and they were picking our store orders for us.
Wow.
So you really you value that, right? So you continue to build on those relationships.
So still a business of relationships, and now it's just that much more important for the same reason.
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 more minutes? So do we want to ask some questions now? Mr. Ed Tracy.
Question for the retailers. You talked about store labor shortage. Are any of you considering implementing data bar on the PLU sticker to decrease your cashier hours and increase your category management?
So we're not there yet. I could tell you that it's not a produce thing, but we're installing a lot of self checkouts. But I mean, what's that? Yeah, it does. Yeah. So we're not there yet, but we're looking at it. But yeah, that's the extent we're at right now.
Any other retailers, Steve?
Yeah, I would agree. It's certainly something that we're discussing and considering as well. And I think you said category managers as well. So it removes some of that human error with that as well. When it gets entered in the self checkouts is a great thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about organics all the time and it gets mixed up. So I think the industry is going to go that way. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, we know it's the next step. We have people that already like working on it and checking it, but like Mimmo said, it's a big step. It's a big change because you need to change a lot of things internally. We just go out from that pandemic, and it's going to be the next step to work on. But for sure, we talked about technology before. It's one of them that we will have to use.
Okay. Question?
Yeah, the pandemic taught a generation how to cook, including my 4 kids. And it's been great to go to restaurants and see them jammed full. But the feedback I've had in my office from restaurateurs is that, we taught a generation how to cook. So for yourselves, are you seeing a different split, and do you predict a different split through the 2 supply or distribution channels, food service or to the retail trade? Is that going to come back to the same splits as it was pre-pandemic? Or do you see a shift, a longer-term shift?
Good question.
We definitely saw that shift start, especially through 2021. The challenge is it's finding that new norm. Because now is we see that shift, but now it's the new element with still the supply chain challenges, which have caused significant inflation, both costs and retail, and that's where now we have that new shift coming of more that value proposition in store, and we have to adapt to that. But definitely, we did see that with more that more food. I don't want to say foodie, but definitely more your meal at home and preparation.
Emily?
I think from a food service perspective that there's fatigue from people at home and cooking at home and doing that. So there's a real appetite to be getting out and gathering with friends and celebrating events that maybe they've missed. So I think we will shift back, but maybe it'll be a new balance moving forward.
Any other questions from the audience? There we go.
Thank you. Tyler from USDA. One thing we're hearing on the grower side in the U.S. is their shift in focus too, because they're also having the same supply chain concerns. So they're focusing on Mexico and Canada. How have you shifted what you're looking at in terms of sourcing, and then when do you see going back internationally or overseas, I guess?
Crystal ball now, guys.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I'll go, but I'm not sure. What's tough to me to hear, but you're talking to buying more offshore, or?
If you could just take your mask off for the question,
sure.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. So what we're hearing on our grower side is more of a focus on the Canada market because of the problems that they're seeing with the supply chain. So we're hearing that you're all talking about similar concerns, right, or similar challenges. So has that increased sourcing from the Mexico, United States, here in Canada, and then so how has that changed kind of your sourcing patterns?
I'm seeing. Can you go first?
No, go. See.
Okay. I'm seeing two different points on this one. For sure, we already did it before, but we try at the maximum to buy local because it's just the transport and everything, and just the fact of the issue that we can have with the containers and port and boats. For sure, we push on the local, and I think that point is gonna stay. But all the product that's not growing here, I'm gonna talk for myself, but we had no choice to expand a little bit more. So less concentrate the buying on one or two country, maybe like do the same season and use 6, just to be sure that transport, product, and everything is going to go in line. Use 3-4 different ports of arrival. So I think yes, we expand the offshore, not on volume, but more on the deconcentrate the thing. But the local part is still really important, and I think this one's going to stay in even more for the future.
I agree. Steve's bang on it. Even before pandemic, us in the produce industry, we all know, be closer to home, grow local. What this has identified is we have to drive less miles out of our product, right? Overseas, we need it. I mean, we know our climate here half the year, but it's you said, diversifying those programs, multiple ports, multiple origins. Things went wrong, and some of it's uncontrollable, but that's how we can mitigate that risk. And then with our partners, and I go back to the less miles, how can we be smarter with our programs? We're a large country coast to coast. Where can we take those miles off? Where can we drive those efficiencies? And definitely, those North America, like you said, Mexico, the U.S., yes, it's not going away. These ports are getting better, but what's the next thing, right? And we're constantly getting what's the next thing right now. We know the challenges happening in Europe right now where it's impacted, a lot of the delays we went through this past month just on the ships trying to redirect. And I think it's how to mitigate that. And then in the future, we do have to accelerate how we grow those local programs.
Yeah, what's great about our industry is really any product is grown at any time and any place around the world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, to your point, it allowed us to understand how are the different ways we can get product here and making sure that we have the product.
Thank you. I think what the pandemic has proven to everyone in this room, I mean, it's almost like we're preaching to the choir, but this group represents a whole bunch of, a very big cross-section of our food supply chain, that we were successful in keeping food on the shelves for Canadians. What the CPMA did was help governments understand how the supply chain worked. So hats off to everybody in this room for taking part of it. Not over yet. The challenges are still going to be there. There's going to be a different situation, a different governance, a different problems that will be happening. And remember that Mother Nature is still the one that rules all. So she's going to throw us a different curve every year. But I think with the brain trust in this room and with the associations like the CPMA and everyone here, that we'll be just fine. So we don't want to end on a gloom and doom. I want to thank the panelists for giving us their very thoughtful insights today. And I want to thank you for being thoughtful with your questions and insights, and enjoy the rest of the convention. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Until next time, fill half your plate with fruits and veggies, continue to seek out new knowledge, and basically never stop growing.